Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chelsea, you know that, I know that. We all know that. Today we're talking about Elizabeth Teckenbrock because goodness gracious, we have a lot to go over. Also, my scalp is peeling because I forgot to put sunscreen on my parts while I was at the beach. So it's peeling. That's what it is. It's not lice or anything, okay? And then also, I just got my lips done. So I will be icing my lips throughout this video. I swell a lot, so I always want to make sure that I ice literally the entire day after, or 24 hours after and all that. I get my lips done at Lace Med Spa. I am an ambassador with them. If you go to any of their locations nationwide, you can tell them that I referred you, CCSUAREZ or Chelsea Suarez, and you will get $100 off and I will get $100 off. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this video because, oh my goodness, what is going on?
If it were about someone else, I'd be subscribing.
You know what's crazy other than whatever we're talking about in this video? According to Reuters Institute, more than half of Americans are getting their news from social media, like all of their news from social media. And you know what? With recent conversations that I've had with the boomers that I'm related to, I believe that statistic, but I also get it. I'm distrustful of the media too sometimes, okay? Here to give you a great example of this is your favorite and mine, Uncle Reggie. Thank you for joining us today, Reggie. Now, what were you telling me about the last presidential election?
Trump won because of that Rogaine fella.
Do you mean Joe Rogan?
Yeah, the one that talks about the champs.
Got it. Now, all of these headlines are different, but essentially they're covering this same exact story and topic. But you can see the clear biases with even just the headlines, of course, but you want to read past headlines and actually read the full article, full piece of media itself. And let me tell you, the biases are pretty drastic, the things that they leave out. And that's why I think that Ground News is one of the most important apps out there today. Unlike other platforms, they're not trying to tell you what to think. They're actually presenting you all sides. They literally bring you the world's media on today's most polarizing issues so that you can see all the facts and think for yourself. They'll even show how far right or radical an unbiased source actually is, their history of failing fact checks, and who's benefiting off of you believing their version of the truth. Y'all know I've been saying for years, consider the source. That always applies to not only people you're believing, but obviously information you're believing too. And as if they couldn't get any better, Ground News was actually founded by a female NASA engineer who left her job at NASA to focus on problems that we're having down here on Earth. And they're fully independent and supported by us readers. But I got you 40% off of the Vantage plan. That is the one that I use. That's just $5 a month for all the context missing from your nightly doom scrolling on politics, hot topics, pop culture, TikTok, whatever. Just go to ground.news/cc or download the mobile app and enter the code CC to save 40% off of their Vantage plan. And like I said, that is the plan that I use, and that knocks it down to just $5 a month. Again, that's ground.news/cc or click the link in my description box.
You see that video I sent you?
You mean the one with the dog and the lion that's very clearly AI and not on a real doorbell camera?
No.
Yes, I got it. Please stop sending me those. Truly at this point, not knowing the source of the information that you're consuming and relaying onto others, not knowing where that's coming from isn't just bad. It doesn't just make you look like an idiot. It's dangerous. So thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video. All right, friends. So as you know, Elizabeth, the podcast brought to you by HFTC Media, which is mine and Sherilyn Dale's production company or media company, where we create pretty awesome limited series podcasts all about scammers and catfishers and crime in general and stuff. So we just finished, I say just, it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, probably a month ago by the time this goes up, but we just concluded season 1 of Elizabeth, which is our limited series podcast about Elizabeth Teckenbrock, the serial con artist that lives in my area, right? Now, season 2 will be coming. We were just planning on doing, first and foremost, it started out as just a 45-minute episode about her on our Here for the Clout podcast, which is more, silly, goofy, funny. And then we were like, oh, dear God, there's a lot more. It's going to be more than just one episode. So we were like, all right, well, maybe we do like a limited series. And it was just supposed to be 5 episodes. Then it turned into 8. Now it's multi-seasons because the more, we talk about it, the more the podcast, gets listened to and more attention it gets. And it's done very, very well. So thank you so much for the support. I'll have it linked down below. It made it into the top trending podcasts in the US and Canada in the top 50, which is insane. So thank you so much. We will be at CrimeCon at the beginning of next month to promote it. So if you are in the Denver area or want to go to CrimeCon, get your ticket so you can come see us. However, season 2 is going to be insane. And I just need y'all to understand that. I know sometimes like with docu-series or podcast series, like season 1 really is crazy and awesome. And then season 2 is like, this kind of feels like leftovers. Girl, it's a whole nother course. It's going to be crazy. So Liz has this cycle that she usually goes through when it comes to, scamming, getting caught, getting called out, people attempting to hold her accountable, and then being able to like circle back and like not necessarily reinvent herself, but just like circle back and do it all over again, basically. So this time's different though. So a lot of times what will happen is she'll do a scam, big or small, and then she will get called out. Then she goes silent, leaves the internet, whatever, changes her usernames, then changes them back, doesn't, go on TikTok for a while. She stayed off of TikTok for almost 2-3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. Let's say 2 weeks just to be safe. But then she'll come back on social media and be posting like day in the life content and basically frame herself as this single mom who works 2 jobs, blah, 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 says that she's changed, it's kind of like a victim sob story, things like that. Very reminiscent of the crying cupcake video. And that's kind of where we are now. And so she's back to posting that type of content. And she had like a bit of a crash out this past weekend. It was pretty wild. And then now she's saying again that Andrew, her ex-husband, is a Scientologist and like double downing, triple downing on that. And it's very interesting because what's different now is that Andrew isn't, no offense to him, I appreciate everything that Andrew's put out there in his story and how he hasn't backed down. But Andrew isn't like the main source anymore. And thank God for that. No offense to Andrew. He's even said it as well that, he's not that great at putting all the information out there. It isn't super like digestible, but thanks to other people on the internet talking about it, myself included, and also the Elizabeth podcast, it's much more consumable and a lot of that information is out there. One thing as well that I do want to make clear is that the reason why we wanted to really focus on not only, yes, helping Andrew tell his story and putting that out there, but even more so, the things that she did that had nothing to do with Andrew, the things that she did after Andrew to everyone else, because her main go-to is to turn back around and be like, well, Andrew's a Scientologist. Andrew was abusive. And hey, even if Andrew was abusive, which I don't know if he was, I personally am not of the belief that he was. Liz is an unreliable narrator, but even if he was abusive towards her while they were together, while they weren't together, whatever, that still doesn't explain or negate or anything why she faked cancer multiple times after they were already divorced and after she had already moved out. And up until recently, it was alleged to me, I'm not stating it as a fact, but this was alleged to me by a very trustworthy source, too, actually. She owes someone a lot of money and told them that she has terminal cancer still and that she's dying and that they will get money back when she dies because that person is like written in as her beneficiary. And it's like, girl, that's not how that works. What are you talking about? It's absolutely horrible. But if you think the things that this person has done and said online or publicly are bad, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So like I said, it's not just Andrew this time around trying to call her out on this information and presenting other information. But then, for instance, recently, apparently there were flyers put up in my area. It's interesting because someone was like, oh, I saw these flyers in Hyde Park, which is a place where Liz frequents. But then the picture that I saw was like, that's not Hyde Park, that's Ybor. Like, what are you talking about? But someone was like, yeah, then someone took them down right away. And I was like, well, that's not good. So I'm going to see what I can do about putting up some flyers. So can't wait, just around the areas that she frequents and see how I can do that real fast. Because listen, girl, now that my kid's in preschool, y'all about to be sick of me. I'm about to be doing the most. I'm excited. But I really do think that that is important. I know it's kind of troll behavior, which I love, obviously. But not everyone is on TikTok. Not everyone listens to podcasts. And for instance, there apparently is a new man that Liz is scamming. And his friend went on live on TikTok with Andrew. And if I can find some good clips of that, we will insert them now. But again, all of this is happening while she is online saying like, I've changed, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like, okay, well, you are apparently scamming a man out of over $20,000 and allegedly, and using his car and like refusing to give it back allegedly, if we are to believe that what the guy's friend said is true. And you can say all day long that it's a sugar baby situation, but if it's a sugar baby situation, then like why would the friend of the guy go on a live with Andrew and like expose all of this? If it was a sugar baby situation, wouldn't the guy know about it? Wouldn't the other party also be aware that it is a sugar baby situation? Like that's black and white. You're not lying and manipulating someone into a sugar baby situation. Just because you're allegedly scamming a man out of a certain amount of money doesn't mean it's a sugar baby situation. Those types of relationships are, yes, transactional, and both parties are consenting to literally exactly what that is. It's wild. This is wild. Now, Liz also went live last night and was doing a live stream with this TikTok person who is an ex-Scientologist. And Liz, again, is back pushing the narrative that Andrew is a Scientologist or was a Scientologist. And as someone who knows a lot about Scientology, more than the average person, and who lives right in this area, and not in South Tampa, there's not many Scientologists, but in Clearwater there is, and there's a big, not headquarters, but a church, I guess, is what you would call it, in Ybor City, and there's, like I said, a bunch in Clearwater too. But I've had quite a few run-ins, and so I do want to talk about what she's saying. And when you don't actually know a lot about Scientology and how, like, the inner workings of it and how all of this works, I could understand how what she's saying, like, people would believe. And I do want to say as well, I believed her way back when all of this first started. When she first made her video, it went viral. He came out accusing her of all of these things. And then her rebuttal was, he's a Scientologist, he's abusive, right? And so right when she said that, I was like, oh, I don't care what the he says then. Like, you're cooked, you're done. I'm not going to believe anything you say if you're a Scientologist. Now, in my opinion, that was very smart of her. Not good, obviously, but very smart of her to do, because most people, like I said, will just discredit anything he says. More so than hopping back on the narrative of Andrew being a Scientologist, she's also back on talking about certain people who have called her out, and then also back to the same bullshit, back to the same rebuttals and cover stories, in my opinion. So one thing that was absolutely wild was when Liz was going through one of her little crash outs over the weekend and calling out Rachel Reese, her ex-friend, who has been a huge help with the Elizabeth podcast, the defense attorney. She said, this is insane. She said that she did listen to the entire podcast, Elizabeth, and this is what she had to say about it.
And by the way, I did listen to the podcast, and you know what? I want to give those girls a really quick shout out before I get into the story, because I'm going to tell you what, they did a really good job. I don't agree with everything they said. I think that they have a lot of truths in that podcast, but they also have some things that are not true. Regardless, they did it chef's kiss. So tastefully, so educationally, respectfully, I will say. You know, obviously it's about me, they don't like me, but they did a great job. Like a very good job. Honestly, if it were about someone else, I'd be subscribing. I would definitely be listening. But, all right. Anyway, so go ahead. If you haven't already listened to that, then come back. It's called Elizabeth. And obviously, Elizabeth Me is the main feature there.
No, I'm not going to go into the back and forth between Rachel Reese and Liz, because I am actually working on kind of a video with Rachel when I think she's already back home. Yeah, she's in court right now, but I have just a lot of things to go over with her, so we're not talking about that in this video. But Liz was talking with an ex-Scientologist. I say that because a lot of people are like, okay, this lady's just like a wannabe ex-Scientologist. She's not actually an ex-Scientologist. Like, she's getting a lot of things wrong, and this is fucking weird. So I think that Liz was doing this live stream with this lady because she wanted someone to validate that the lie, in my opinion, that Andrew is an ex-Scientologist. And this woman seems so ill-informed, and I don't like it. So let's go ahead and watch some clips of the live stream they did together.
I have a video, well, I have a few videos. One of them is the calling Andrew a Scientologist, your ex, and that whole connection. And people, even recently, have been like, that didn't age well, or like, and I feel like people still don't get it, that specific connection. And I don't know, it just bugs me. It just bothers me.
There's like a hard, people like, he's able to say he isn't very like firmly because of the way he was in it, that it's easy for him to pass off. Regardless, they still practice the same things. They still go over all of the same stuff. They still have that in their household and their daily life, and it's traumatizing and it's awful. So although maybe not out like preaching or like knocking on the doors or like going and doing those type of things, he's still practicing every day. He uses the words. If I speak to him, even like anytime I've spoken to him, even well after being divorced.
Okay, so what they're referring to is in the Clearwater area, really in the Tampa Bay area as a whole, the headquarters for the Sea Org, whatever, is in Clearwater in Florida. So there's a lot of doctors' offices where it's like eye doctors, ear doctors, or like certain like specialists and stuff like that will be targeted by Scientologists, but it's not Scientology cut and dry. It's more, or just like obviously Scientology, it's a like business course and a way for you to get more business and run a more successful business and scale your business and all that. And it is like owned and operated by Scientology, but they're pretty secretive with that. And it's pretty Looney Tunes. And there are a couple medical practices that do it in like the Tampa area. And it's so spooky. But just because you have been conned into that and think like you're growing your business or whatever, doesn't mean that you are a practicing Scientologist. There is a clear difference. And Andrew has said multiple times that like, yes, I got conned into this. Again, no offense to Andrew, but he is someone who is easy to scam, apparently. That is clear. When listening to his series, the 47 million part series that he's done on TikTok, but then also, all of the facts we have and anecdotal evidence we have from our podcast, and then also other things that Andrew has told me. I've jokingly told him before, like, Andrew, I'm going to lock you in a closet so that you don't get scammed again. Like, you really, like, what is going on here? This is insane. I want to make that clear. So it's not surprising to me that Andrew was conned into, or manipulated into rather, having his business be a part of this like business course thing that is put on by Scientology. A lot of, like I said, a lot of businesses do fall victim to that. So I do just want to make that clear. But of course, if you are not someone who is understanding the ins and outs of Scientology and the way that they run and operate these types of businesses, and that can really, that like course and, thing that they have, one of like business programs that they sucker people into, can a lot of times be a way that they will literally take over businesses. It's wild. For instance, I mean, I'm a pretty smart gal and I know that Scientology is a cult. I know not to, do that, go there, whatever. I know not to fall for their shit, right? I even applied and interviewed at a place that is like owned and operated by Scientologists, and I didn't know going into it. And then I was there literally all day long and I was like, what the fuck is this? They had me do like a math test and like multiple personality tests. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess because I would be in sales, but like what? Or like, this is so weird. Like, I literally felt like I was being held hostage. I was like, I have to go. Like, this shit's taken all day. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's wild. And then afterwards, I looked it up and like asked some people and they're like, yeah, that's a cult. Like, they are Scientology. It's wild, y'all. It was so crazy. But I didn't know that going into it. And obviously I did not work there. Now, if you are a Scientologist, recruiting people to come into Scientology is a pretty big part of it. And if you are an eye doctor, which, let's be clear, Andrew is an optometrist, not an ophthalmologist. So an optometrist, let's just go look at the American Academy of Ophthalmology, right? So an optometrist primarily focuses on vision care, including eye exams, prescribing eyeglasses, contact lenses, and managing common eye conditions. Ophthalmologists are medical doctors specializing in comprehensive eye care, including providing medical and surgical treatments for eye diseases and conditions. I mean, it's kind of like the difference between seems drastic, but a chiropractor and a spinal surgeon and a thoracic spine surgeon, right? Do just want to make that clear. However, Andrew being someone that would be a business owner, a doctor, or let's say a medical professional, a business owner, and like someone in the Tampa Bay area. Some could say someone who's easy to scam. You don't think he would be top on their list? Come on. And if he was actually practicing Scientologist in the cult, recruiting people, actually like in the religion, have you ever heard of someone who is at that level denying Scientology? No. They might be vague about it, like Elizabeth, what's her face? The one who's in, is that her name? She's in Handmaid's Tale. Whenever anyone asks her about it and they're like, are you in Scientology? And she's like, Scientology is just something that helps me a lot with my life. And like, she's vague about it and that's it, right? But Andrew has denied being a Scientologist. His family members have denied ever being Scientologist or part of that. And again, just because you were conned into being a part of like some business mentorship course type of thing that is run by Scientology, that a lot of people don't realize that it's run by Scientology, that doesn't mean that you are a Scientologist. So it's interesting that she's saying and phrasing it that way of, because he was in it the way that he was, it's like, no, girl, he wasn't a Scientologist. He got conned into this thing that's like 2 steps before joining the cult.
They'll still like confronting and bull baiting, and like he uses all the terms all day, and I'm like, you can't fine and say that you're not, but you practice all that they do.
Yeah.
So she's saying that he can deny that he was a Scientologist or is a Scientologist, but she's saying that he practices all that they do. But again, have you ever heard of a Scientologist denying Scientology? If he was to deny Scientology, especially publicly, he'd be in a hole somewhere. He'd be locked in a room somewhere. Like, that's what they do. So no, no. Good Lord.
I have made a video where I felt like I came too hard on Andrew or anybody in his position, like these business owners that don't really know that what they're being sold is Scientology repackaged. But then there's like acting a particular way. Like there's a vindictiveness, there's like a calculated sort of mindset of retaliation. And that doesn't seem to be going away either.
Yeah, it's like at some point, for like a while, I think I was just quiet.
But she wasn't quiet when it came to the backlash or him releasing information. It's quite interesting that she will say like, I've been quiet, I haven't done this, I haven't talked about it, but she'll post things, then delete them. So it's like, no, you're just deleting what you said before and pretending it didn't happen, which is interesting. She does that a lot with her back and forth with Rachel Reese, her ex-friend, who is the defense attorney. She'll post things and then delete them and then be like, I haven't talked about you. And it's like, girl, yes, you did. What are you talking about? Yes, you did. You absolutely talked about her. I don't even know if this video is still on there, but she was saying that Rachel's a drug addict. And it's like, that's libel. Like, that's defamation. What do you do? What are you doing? It's interesting also that the other lady said that like, this is calculated. And it's like, how... Ma'am, do you know who you're talking to? How is it calculated when Andrew's first few videos were just like awful? I keep saying it was him throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping that it stuck because it wasn't good. They were not good. They were disjointed. No one could understand them. And it made him look a little bit crazy. It actually worked to her benefit. And now the videos are much longer and him talking and, putting out a story, but like the receipts that he'll show and the screenshots and stuff like that, like if it was calculated, it would have been timed way better. It would probably be on YouTube and like cut into short form content for TikTok while showing every single receipt. And there would be a Google Drive or something or a Dropbox folder of all these receipts, right? With like explaining exactly what they are. But there's not, because Andrew's not that organized and not that calculated, right? And you know what? People can say all day long, well, he just keeps talking about it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, if you were married to a con artist who used you and you were just her mark and her babysitter for not only the kids you had with her, but her other 2 kids too, then yeah, if she financially ruined you, then yeah, you'd probably want to get your story out there too, because she's been doing it to multiple other people. And even before Andrew, she did it. So what's her excuse for her ex-fiance, I think it was? Yeah, her ex-fiance. What's her her excuse for that? I would really love to know that, because a lot of people don't realize that this is a cycle. It's literally not about Andrew.
It is hard. It's probably harder for you because you have you've done some shit that I guess he could like use against you. But I do wonder, like, what?
Terrified at first. I mean, when I left, it wasn't the first time I tried to leave, right? Like, it had been so many times where he was like, I will take everything from you. I will take everyone from you. I will take them from you. It was just, I will ruin your life from all the things I know you've done. You know, that happened so many times. But then one day I had to be like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to test it out because I can't keep living like this either. Unfortunately, he wasn't bluffing. So yeah, but you know, life goes on. So
yeah, man. And you were so young, right? When you married him, and you had 2 kids already by the time you married him. When did you guys get married? How old were you?
I was 20, I think, when I met him. I think 21, maybe. He was 35, I think.
You were 20 and he was 35?
He's 11 years older than me, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people are calling this out as well, is the age difference. So saying that you're 20 and someone's 35, a lot of people have said, like, that's not accurate. And for like, he's 11 years older than me. Girl, can you do math? Like, what are you talking about? That's not 11 years. For someone who's being allegedly investigated by the FBI for charity fraud, you're not that good at math, which I guess that is why she'd be being investigated, or how she got caught. That's not how she got caught. But anyways, I truly do believe that she is, and again, this is just my belief upon what I'm seeing, right? What she is saying. And again, this is all alleged, my own opinion, all that, right? I'm not stating this as a fact. But as I'm watching this and as I'm analyzing it, dissecting it, reacting to it, whatever, I really do feel like she's trying to go with the narrative that like he was a groomer and that he groomed her. Of course, I wasn't there. Okay. But that's super bold of you to say when like you like when you scammed him. Y'all got together when you were on a break from your fiance. Like your fiance still thought you were together. Like what? I don't know how to tell you this. Sorry again, Andrew, you're catching strays in this video, but Andrew doesn't have that game. Okay. He does not have game like that.
I could even like that I was even, it stopped at my 20s. It didn't. I was fucked up way longer than that. You know, like that's one thing is I never have ever portrayed ever that I didn't do things wrong. Like I've owned it. I'm very self-aware of like mistakes that I've made.
She just said that she has owned it. She's owned that she has done a lot of fucked up stuff. You can't own your actions and take accountability for them if you don't admit to what you've done. And she has said multiple times that she will never admit to specifically what she has done because legally that would not be smart for her. She'd be admitting to crimes, to literal crimes. So,
and like a mess that I've created and things like that, like consequences that happen, those are my own fault, you know? But at the same time, like you have to allow someone to grow, and this doesn't allow me to grow. It's like, you know, every day. So that's kind of like my issue with it is like, I can acknowledge, you know, like I can learn and try to learn from it and be better. But at the same time, like at what point do you let me be better?
You can't do better, learn from something, move on, stuff like that, if you aren't going to take accountability for what you've actually done. And you can't take accountability for what you've actually done unless you actually admit to the specific thing that you've done. I mean, that's the first step one, not even step one, step 0 to taking accountability. Cannot speak. To taking accountability, she got me all flustered, is admitting specifically to what you have done. And if she did that, again, potentially charges would be brought against her and she'd potentially be convicted for everything that she's done. But the thing is again, she won't do that because she doesn't want to, I'm assuming that she doesn't want to be arrested and charged and convicted of these crimes, right? But literally, like, that's what people want, for you to be held accountable and face the consequences to your own actions. Like, Liz, that's literally how all of this would stop. But she's like, oh, people just hate me. People just hate me. And it's like, okay, well, why? As a content creator myself, which I don't think that's what she is. I'd say she's a shitty influencer, which is a con artist in my opinion. But as a public figure who gets a lot of hate, people really hate me and hey, listen, that's okay. My personality is not for everyone, but I'm very open to constructive feedback, meaning you're giving feedback and offering like a solution, because that's what constructive means, that it's helpful. But like, if you're just being an ass and literally defaming someone and harassing them and stalking them, that's not helpful. And that's just being insane. Then okay, like, yes, that is a hater. But I'd say majority of the people who don't like Elizabeth Teckenbrock don't like her actions and her literal crimes that she's committed, that she refuses to admit to and take accountability for and accept the consequences for. So no, you're not able to move on, grow, and do better and become a better person if you're not going to take accountability.
You know, you preach to the internet every day. I want her to do better. I want her to do better. It isn't. You want to ruin me. You want to keep ruining me. And that's all that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the inside, but I certainly get that vibe. It is like, well, what are you supposed to do? I don't know. Okay, so coming from my background, like in growing up in Scientology, I know so many people who now have left Scientology and they can't believe what they did when they were in there. Like the mindset that they had when they were in Scientology.
This is irrelevant though. What this woman's saying is irrelevant. Like I understand that's her background and all that, but Andrew wasn't in Scientology. Andrew didn't grow up in Scientology. So what she's saying isn't wrong. It's just not relevant to this conversation and has nothing to do with this and is invalid and doesn't apply here. Andrew is not a Scientologist. From everything that I have seen. Yet, again, I really do think that this lady is just like so hardcore on that she is, I don't know, trying to attach herself to this and push the narrative of like, oh, he is a Scientologist and like, this is what I see, when it seems like she clearly doesn't have, just from what she says, not only in this clip, but in other ones too. It's like, okay, girl, you clearly don't have the whole story. Like this is kind of embarrassing for you. But Liz is eating it up. Liz is taking 100%, in my opinion, taking advantage of that and using that to her benefit, as always.
When after they've left, they look back and they think, who was I? How could I have done all those things? How could I have, in Scientology's case, you know, maybe ruined lives or broken up families or whatever? And there does have to be, I mean, like, aren't all people redeemable at some point if you really do want to change and get better? And if we all stop growing at 20 or 25 or 30, like, why would we keep living so long? I don't know. It's just kind of like, how are you supposed to win?
Yeah, I feel like that sometimes, but I have learned over time, I can't control other people's actions, right? Like I can only control my own. And one thing that I kept making mistakes, I feel like a lot of the time, because I put myself in a very victim mindset. Like I was very much like, I'm the victim in this situation. Like he won't stop. I can't grow. I can't do anything. And so I had to grow up really and realize like, I'm not in control of his actions. I'm not in control of these other people's actions on the internet. And I can't keep blaming my actions on them. The reason why I'm making mistakes or the reason why I'm not healing or whatever, like I can't blame other people for that. So I've had to really, really accept that. And that's what's helped me kind of like been able to push through, especially in the last, 6 months or so. I've really changed a lot in my life because I had to develop that mindset of like, I'm never going to be able to control him. I'm never going to be able to get him to stop. I'm never, there were so many times that I would be like, he would say like, if I could go back to him, I just like could have no phone. Like I would have to delete the TikTok. That was at the beginning when he was still like trying to like use this to like win me back or all of those things. That's way past. He doesn't do that anymore because like he can't go back on any of this now, but there were so many times I debated it for so long because I just thought to myself like the girls, I'll do whatever he wants. And then secondly, like if for all this to stop, I will do it.
Again, let me know what you think in the comments below, but I very firmly believe that all of this, the people wanting you to be held accountable would stop if you took accountability. And again, that means accepting charges that are to be brought upon you if you do admit to what you've done and if you are just honest. But Elizabeth Teckenbrock is not someone, in my opinion, who I guess has the capability of being honest. But I firmly do believe, like, just be honest and admit what you've actually done. That's what people want. Tell the truth and then accept those consequences, meaning charges, convictions, whatever, right? I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I Looney Tunes? I don't know.
Even if I do it, he's got so much attention online. He's still going to keep his page up. I could delete mine, give him my phone, go back to him. I would probably be in the other room, like, while he's like making videos because he now needs validation and attention that he loves.
Yeah. Well, I think he's done that a couple of times as well. Because I know, in the past year, 4 months, you've taken down your TikTok a couple times, which could potentially be signaling like, okay, we're done. And yeah, he didn't He never stopped.
This woman clearly doesn't have all of the information available, because why did Liz take down her TikToks or her social media? It's that cycle of she got called out, it got to be too much, something, whatever, and then it's a social media break. It's a reset for her. And when it comes to that cycle, I feel like, and again, just my opinion, but I feel like she's mastered it to where she will, just give it time and give it time for people to forget. Give it time for TikTok to do its thing and for the news cycle to news cycle. Give someone else a chance to go viral, right? And then she slowly comes back. And sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 2 weeks. But of course, Andrew has not taken down videos or deleted his TikTok. One, he doesn't need to. And two, he's telling his story. Okay. So those two things, again, are not comparable. And I don't know why this Liz Gale lady, please don't go interact with anyone in this video. Don't give hate, harass, anything. Don't touch the poop. This is not a petting zoo. Not that you touch poop in petting zoos, but you get it. It's unfortunate. I really think that this lady is being disillusioned, so to speak, because of the whole Scientologist aspect, when that's not even an aspect of this story.
Well, it is different too for you are sharing your life. Not just this drama with Andrew or whatever, but even just your regular TikTok content is sharing your life. So I guess that doesn't that get tiring?
Yeah, sometimes it does. I mean, I used to enjoy it. I used to post and I would have so much fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. That was always what I did before any of this came out. It was just my normal post. I wasn't ever bringing any drama or weird things to the internet. And it was something that I always used, I think, to hold me accountable. If I was down bad or something like that, I would know that okay, I get up every day, I post my silly videos, I'm posting that I'm doing my daily life and in routine, so it helped me get out of bed or do things like that. Whereas now I don't love it anymore. I post but it's everything I do, they see 1 second of my life, or they're getting one side of the story of my life, and unfortunately they rip all of it to pieces, just I could post something, and it's I don't post my children on the internet anymore. Very rarely will I post doing something with Blake or something like that, and not even show her face anymore or anything like that. And then people are making all these videos, comments, and she's not saying anything at all. And it's no, I'm giving you an ounce because you guys take a mile, and I'm not giving you any more thing, and so I think that's what's hard, is that I used to enjoy it and I want to enjoy it, but they make it pretty hard for me to do so anymore.
Yeah. Do you think you get proportionately more hate?
So I think that I get a lot of love privately.
It's interesting that she says that she gets more love privately than publicly. And then she's going to go on to say that it's because Andrew's followers and it's because of Andrew and, all of them. And it's girl, half these people that don't like you don't like Andrew. Okay. And no, it's not. It's because of the actions that you and behaviors that you have done. It's the consequences of your own actions. But also it's interesting because it's okay, well, it's funny you say that because we can't see that, and you can't, you could prove that, but you're not going to prove that you get more love privately. It just builds into this narrative of, oh, well, people do like me privately. And no, I don't think so. I think that she gets more negativity than support. And it is interesting that she's saying she doesn't enjoy making content anymore. And I just don't understand why you would do it at that point, especially if it's not your job, because she always says that she won't get off the internet because TikTok is her job. I don't know how to tell you this, girl. I've seen your views. Know the fork, it is not your job. You are not getting the views that you used to back in the day. And especially if your account is private, you're not in the creator program. You're not in the creator rewards program. So your account is not monetized. And then once it's not monetized, I'm pretty positive, I could be wrong, that you have to reapply for monetization. And just seeing her views lately, hey, maybe that is why she is going back and forth with people. Maybe that's why she is posting just so much drama and shit, because that's literally the only time she gets views, and it's wild. But no, you're not making a full-time or even part-time income from TikTok. And I also don't believe that she has a W-2 job like she says that she has, because if that were the case, then her wages would be being garnished, allegedly. And Andrew has already said that he hasn't gotten any money. So he's already said that hasn't happened.
I literally tagged my hairdresser on Instagram, and the podcast people were messaging my hairdresser, and they're like, "Hi, can you give us information on Elizabeth?" And it's like, you're messaging my hairdresser. Like, this is embarrassing, you know? Like, for me to go get my hair done, and my hairdresser is messaging me, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, these people are like messaging me." Yeah, like, see, like, there are people saying like I had to private my account because of his haters. Like, they will go and like dox them just for leaving a nice, not anything negative about him, literally just saying to me, "Hey, somebody will comment, 'You're so pretty' on my video," and somebody will be like, "Hey, how dare you comment she's pretty? You know how ugly she is on the inside. You support this type of and it's just like, oh my gosh, what did this person do to you? You know, like, this is where we're at with it. It was like,
now, yes, I did reach out to the hairstylist that she used recently. And let me tell you this, what she just said that I said is not true. However, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. She's paraphrasing. All right. But the thing is that the reason why I did was because Liz owes like $8,000 or around that to this hairstylist who owns a salon in South Tampa. And that business owner and stylist has not come out because they want nothing to do with her, and they don't want like their business involved in the podcast with Liz and in any type of like content. So I'm not going to say the name of the place. I'm going to respect that person's privacy and wishes and all that. But Liz never paid them, which is insane, because I'm like, why are you letting someone leave? What is going on here? So I messaged the person and I said, "Hi, Allie, I saw that you were tagged in Elizabeth Teckenbrock's photo about getting her hair done. I'm currently producing a podcast about her. She is a known serial con artist in the Tampa Bay area. I wanted to check in and see if she paid you, and also to warn you that she will probably do a chargeback." The hairstylist blocked me. That's fun. Yikes. Yeah, so that's unfortunate, obviously, but not uncommon. We've seen this before, right?
Oh my gosh, tell me about the website. Is it still up?
So
I can
it's
check.
up, and on the podcast, they said they tracked the IP address to myself that I created the website. So I didn't see how they found that out or what IP address I guess they think they use. Yeah, I mean, that was out before the TikTok went viral, and ruined a lot of things in my life. It also posted on there about a lot of people in my life that I would have never even exposed to, knowing I would have never even warned people that I knew them. So yeah, I don't really know how they think that they found that out, or what the proof is that they said that I'm the one that created the website about myself. Because even when Andrew told me, even back then, he was like, I didn't do the website, but I talked to the people that did the website. Like,
That's what he had said too, and but he denied, because I asked him a bunch of times, like on lives back when this first went down. And he basically he at first said, "Oh, I don't know," but then that he did know, but he didn't really know. But I'm like, that's such BS. Except for in that website, there is a link, a like embedded link to the Scientology page, or whatever you want to call it. And we have some weather. And that right there was what hooked me for sure, because I was like, there is no way in hell that anybody who isn't associated with either a Scientology front group, like a business administration, or the actual church, it had to be. Do you think that Andrew made the website?
so I personally now, after all of this in retrospect, I don't think he made it himself. And I've actually always thought that. I've always thought he didn't make it on his own. He's not tech savvy, as we've seen from his videos. Like, I mean, they're getting better. He definitely has someone helping him, I don't know. But I do know that I do feel he didn't create it on his own.
So it's really interesting that she's like, I don't know how they got information or what they're saying and what information they have that leads to them to believe that I created the website, blah, blah, blah. Because it's like, girl, if you would have listened to the podcast and like actually listened, you would have heard how we are coming to that conclusion. So that's interesting. Anyway, so we hired a PI firm, and they were able to track like login information and devices and things like that. And they're amazing. They're actually called Knox, and I'm going to do like a few videos partnered with them, and they are awesome. They are digital vigilantes, basically. They're amazing. But what we found, or what they found, was that the same devices that were being used to log in to like her Instagram and her TikTok and stuff were also being being used to log into the admin part, like of that website. So if you didn't make that website, why would you have the admin information and login access? That doesn't make any sense. Also, she's saying that she doesn't think that he made it himself. So yes, she's saying that she thinks he made it, but just that he like hired someone to make it. And it's not a well put together website. I think that it was purposely done that way to make it look like someone who's not tech savvy did it and to give it a very Scientology feel. 100%, I think that's why. And even when I looked at the website, when all of this first came out, that's what I thought. That really reiterated like, oh, this guy's 100% Scientology. This is what Scientology does, is they will create websites about people and, in my opinion, defame people and just be complete assholes and make shit up and spread shit around. And they're idiots. You should not be scared of them. They are complete losers. You should not be scared of them at all. But I do believe that early on, Liz had the idea of like, okay, well, to discredit anything and everything he says, I'm just going to say that he, I'm going to pull the Scientology card. And so I think that when she made that website, it was whatever link or whatever was embedded in there, as this lady says. Lord.
But there is no way at all possible that he didn't have things to do with it, because he sent like those marriage documents that are on there. A lot of people are like, hey, these are private, or those aren't private. They're public. They're public marriage documents. They're not. Public marriage documents in Florida, I don't know in other states, marriage documents in Florida are not allowed. If you have children, your marriage documents are sealed. They're not on there. Those were highlighted documents, right, that him and I had from our attorneys, well, his attorney, where they had highlighted them.
I don't know why she said that or what makes her think that that's true, because I mean, even from the Florida court records website, it says marriage records fall under the umbrella of public records in Florida. And then someone in the comments here from this clipped and re-uploaded post, it's actually under truth will set you free. And the E in set is a 3. I'll link their page down below. They're great. They upload a lot of shit. But this person said in the comments, I worked in family court in Florida for almost 5 years. Divorce cases are public record and they are not sealed. I know like custody stuff can be, because that's like family court, not like divorce court. And with family court, like it does involve minors and kids, right? So like, yes, a lot of times that can be not sealed, but like not public. But the dissolution of your marriage, that's just a dissolution of your marriage. That's not custody stuff, Then again, Liz just do be talking out of her ass.
So like he gave them to whoever this was. I don't know who made it, honestly, who actually hired someone or made it himself, but all of the information came from him, every single bit of it. And the Scientology thing is something that he talks about it. She like the words that he uses, the things that were done, I could read it and say 1,000%. I was married to him for 6 years. I know exactly what he talks like. I know the words that he uses that have to do with Scientology.
She says they were married for 6 years. I thought they were married for 4 years. That's interesting. Weird. This girl be getting her numbers wrong. I personally don't think that anything Andrew has said or done seems like what someone from Scientology would be doing. Scientologists aren't typically like all over the internet. So there's that,
And there are, even now, like, for instance, like he talks like confronting is like a big thing he always talks about, but like even the bull baiting stuff, like at the beginning.
In Scientology, bull baiting is not a literal practice, but rather a term used to describe a specific training technique within Scientology's training routines, TRs. It involves confronting a person with uncomfortable or challenging questions or situations, often involving a close emotional connection with a partner, to desensitize them to negative stimuli and potentially reduce their emotional responses. This technique is intended to help individuals become less susceptible to emotional manipulation and control. Yeah, I haven't really seen him do that on social media. I don't know. She's saying like the word confronting. I feel like that's a common term. So
he was saying that he doesn't even know anything about Scientology. That was how it first happened. Is like, right, brought it up, and he was like, I don't even know why she would ever say that. I have no idea where she got this from, like at all. Right. That was his first thing. But then the messages came out that he was messaging someone else that had messaged him and said, like a different creator or something that said, hey, why is she saying this? And he was like, well, I took some business courses. And so I think that's why. But although at first he acted like he had never heard of it before, like he didn't even like, how in the world? He was like, it's in Clearwater. So I don't know anything about it. Like I'm just never involved in it. And so that just doesn't even makes sense. You know, like the two don't add up. You either know about it or you don't. You were in some courses with it or you weren't.
Yeah. Well, that was really sus to me too, because when the whole Scientology connection came up, when Andrew, and even in my chat here, you know, it's like, oh, we were never Scientologists. Okay, I understand that you guys did not actually go into a church of Scientology and say, hey, we want to apply to be members here. But when you sign up for business administrative courses and you let that into your life and you're paying for L. Ron Hubbard to guide your ethics, your behavior modifications, the expectations of your relationships, your communication, your job performance, all of those things, you are essentially using Scientology in all these aspects of your life. And if it's true that he doesn't know that, then, well, somebody better tell him. Like, you guys have to know this.
This is interesting to act like that's so black and white when in reality it's like, okay, but he has said that he wasn't in Scientology. And like he has said that he participated in a course regarding his business. And again, like you get duped into those things. No one knowingly joins a cult, right? Like no, I mean, unless you're the people from Heaven's Gate and they were all in on it. They wanted to join, I guess. They wanted to join a cult. But yeah, no, like it's not presented to you as like, hey, this is a cult, you should join. And especially with these courses and these programs for businesses, it's like this other lady said, it's repackaged. It's not, this is a Scientology course for your business. No, it's not that. It's kind of like when they're like, oh, want to take a personality test? And it's like, yeah, sure. And then you do it. And then they start telling you all about Scientology, but they don't actually say Scientology. Just like the MLM boss babes, you know, I've got a great opportunity for you. Do you? And this is really interesting as well that she goes on later in this live stream and she says like, I don't talk about him. I don't talk about him, but he keeps talking about me. And it's like, Liz, this entire live stream, basically, you've been talking about Andrew and saying that he's a Scientologist and alluding to or saying that he groomed you and that he was abusive. Like you do. You talk about him all the time. What are you talking about? You don't talk about him. Yes, you do. Someone even commented and said, wait, what happened to never speaking about him again? Didn't she say that? Didn't she say that last week? Yup, she did. And she's probably going to say it tomorrow that she never talks about him. Yet she is doing like such a long live stream with this lady specifically about him.
First time, it was just me reading the book or whatever else. Second time was like, started getting a little weird. I'm now in this group with this room with a bunch of other people that are there to learn, and they're calling people up. And they're doing these like confronting drills in front of everyone around. Mind you, I'm like a young girl and I'm sitting here being like, whoa, I don't want to get up there and do this in front of people. Like, there is no way. And then I learned that through this, I'm talking to a girl that's my last day that I ever attended. I'm sitting next to a girl who's telling me she's been doing it for a while. They go to the church as well. Sometimes they started in the business courses, not in the church. They were dentists. So the program, let me specify, is actually for dentists, not for eye doctors.
Okay.
Whole courses for selling for dentists. But somehow he got into it. And then he, so I think honestly, there were maybe 2 eye doctors there. The whole entire place was all dentists.
So again, like I said before, those types of courses, yes, very much so geared towards medical professionals, specifically dentists in our area at least. But also it's a way to get your foot in the door with these people, meaning have the Scientologists like get their claws into you so that they can then continue to recruit you into it and that you will have a better chance of recruiting more people into it. And again, who doesn't want to have a bunch of doctors and people with big patient bases come into it, right?
She's like, this bull baiting and confronting your husbands actually make a list and they say all of the things that this is my turn. I'm about to go up. She's warning me that I'm about to go up to this. I'm going to sit down in front of this whole entire group of strangers. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about these people. I'm going to sit across from a man that I do not know who is in this Scientology running this program. My husband has gave him a list of all of my insecurities, things that happened to me in my childhood, terrible things that have been going on in my life.
This is interesting because she says that her husband gave them a list of stuff that was like traumatizing for her or something. But allegedly, Andrew didn't know much about her when they got married and really did not know much. So that's really interesting. She also said, you know, when you first start working there, that's when he has you take the course. but she started working there before they were married, to my knowledge. And from what other people who were like really good friends with her at that time and all that, right? So what? That doesn't make sense. If you were already married, you had been working for him for at least like 2 months. Why would you have been hired? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Am I missing something? I mean, we're all missing something because Liz is a horrible storyteller.
And he's going to say all of them to me. He's going to say everything that I've been through, and I have to sit there and I can't react. I can't move. I can't blink barely. I can't twitch, or we're going to restart and we're going to do it again until I no longer blink, until I no longer twitch, until I no longer let it affect me. And it would go on again and again and again and again. And like, they don't let you just get up. Like they don't let you just like get up out of the room and like go. Like, you're not allowed to just leave just because they're doing this to you. And so like, you're sitting there basically as a human being against your own free will while someone is verbally torturing you that you've never met and you've never talked to, and they know every dark thing about your whole entire life. My eating disorder, he's talking about my acne, he's talking about my childhood, my parents, my mom, and my relationship with her. And things, not even things that I have said, but Andrew's perspective of what happened in my life, things that he told them. And so I left like, I probably feeling the lowest I had ever felt in my life, because it was one thing that my husband was doing this to me at home to train me every night and every day, but for a stranger to do it.
She has never said this before, to my knowledge. And now she is, in my opinion, trying to paint it like she not only escaped a very abusive marriage, but also escaped a cult. And in my opinion, that garners way more sympathy than just an abusive spouse. I personally don't think any of that ever happened, because I think if it did, she would have already talked about that. She would have already told this story when she tried to out him previously as a Scientologist. And she's also saying like, every single day he did this to me, but you weren't home every single day. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. It sounds like she sounds like she watched like a Leah Remini documentary and just is going off of that, is what it sounds like. To my knowledge, for these courses, it doesn't get like that crazy within like the first day, to my knowledge, because they want to get you in first. And then once you've like paid money, and then you have the sunk cost fallacy of, oh, I've already paid for this course and that and this and that and that, so I'm just going to keep going, right? Yeah, to my knowledge, that doesn't happen until you are in it. Again, I could be wrong, but just for those courses, I don't think it does. Who knows?
It's crazy to read my comments right now. Maybe you see similar ones. There are people in here actually saying that you're making this up, which I find to be shocking and ridiculous. And I almost feel like I have to say something. What you just described is literally Scientology. It is called a training routine, bull baiting, as you said, and nobody gets out of it. Like, one of the things that people say about child abuse in Scientology, because I was raised in Scientology, is they do that with little kids.
Lord. So that's another thing as well, is she's comparing it to, well, when you're in Scientology, but they were not members of the Church of Scientology. They were not in the cult. I personally don't believe that any of this ever happened. But again, I really do think that she's trying to add another layer to this and have this woman back her up, because she's feeding into whatever this lady believes, and, you know, that confirmation bias regarding experiences with Scientologists and people's own trauma with it. And that sucks, because again, it's the same cycle of pandering to victims or survivors, pandering to survivors of abuse, cults, domestic violence, cancer, of anything. So she, in my opinion, is just pandering to another genre of victim and trying to garner support that way.
So, and maybe is this a touchy subject? I don't know. But the coffee shop or wine bar that you wanted, okay. Who did you rent from? Was it one of the Minkoffs? Did you actually talk to them and deal with them?
Yeah, many times. Okay, so when I was in the sorry, I was reading the comments. I wanted to open a coffee shop. I lived in Clearwater, so I looked downtown Clearwater. My realtor at the time found the coffee shop for me, and it was under Rebecca, or it was under like their Minkoff's, like whatever.
Holdings, yeah.
Had no idea who they even are at
Okay.
all. I didn't even know anything about it. She said, hey, they're Scientologists or whatever. And then she was like, oh, also, I think the woman like is a handbag designer. And the man, like, it's her brother, I think. I think he's her brother. That's what she was saying. And the dad, they all own this. And so then we went to the coffee shop, looked at it, everything like that. I never met them at the time, met their realtor only. Never talked to them either. When I decided I wanted to do the coffee shop, Yuri, called me on the phone. He was like, hi, like, talked to me for like an hour, asked me all kinds of personal questions, like just everything. And then when I got done, I ended up running out of money, could not afford it. I left my husband in the midst of all of this stuff. So I did not do the coffee shop, obviously, as we all know.
Left your husband, but then you rented right after you got divorced. After you moved out, you rented an apartment in one of the most expensive apartment condo complexes in Tampa that you then were evicted from. So how did you run out of money? If you had the money to do a security deposit, first and last month's rent, like that's like what, $6,000 for those types of apartments? You didn't run out of money, girl. You had that Richard Powell money. You did not know. That was around the time that she potentially still had money from the first, well, not first, we don't know if it was the first, but from the other gentleman that she conned out of money, which it was his inheritance from his mother, who was brutally murdered. And she knew that. And he was freshly divorced. And she knew that he had an inheritance from her. And he was very good friends with her grandparents. And that's how she knew him. And she knew all this. And then she made him think like, oh, you're helping, you know, a single mom who's like getting abused or escaping abuse or whatever. And he gave her so much money. And it's so messed up. So she had that money, but she just blows through money. And then also had the money from Richard Powell, which again, a sugar baby situation. Both parties have to be consenting that it is a sugar baby, sugar daddy transactional relationship. And apparently almost all, if not all, of these people do not know that. So therefore, no, it is not. That is insane. Someone even commented on this portion of their live stream and said, what? Didn't you already say that you made everything up months ago? Yeah. And that person got blocked like right away.
I don't know why they ended up dropping it. They removed Andrew first because I had written an email that said like, he's not responsible for any of this. It was all me. You know, we're not married. Let him off the hook for this or whatever. And then they were suing me alone. And then they dropped it. They dropped it last year. And out of nowhere, after I mentioned online.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it after or before you went viral? After. Yeah.
After I mentioned the Scientology online.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Okay, so I really do think that this is going to be the next thing that she really rebrands as, is like a victim of Scientology and trying to weasel her way into garnering support from these types of people, because people who are ex-cult members, people who are ex-network marketing people, and people who have been in high control groups or like help, you know, make content about that or consumer awareness types of things, right? Typically they will be more welcoming, right? And it's kind of like with the like Christian rebrand. It's kind of similar to that, where it's like, okay, you didn't said all these things while you were in this thing and these horrible things happened to you. That sucks, obviously, but let's like, you know, start fresh. Let's raise awareness, blah, blah, blah. Like it's understandable. But Andrew was only in it, as she has said, if we believe that to be true, for like 2 years and then got out of it. Andrew says he was never in Scientology, that he took these courses, was a part of that and got duped into it and then realized, wait, this is a cult. I gotta go. Cool. Great. And obviously not great. That's bad. Don't join a cult. But did your ex-husband being associated with a program that's hosted by the cult of Scientology, is that to blame for you scamming multiple people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars? Is that to blame for you continuously faking terminal cancer, going to your friend's house at lunchtime in scrubs and saying that you were on your lunch break when you actually had no job, and wearing a cold cap? This is alleged. This was what was alleged to me. This is what the friend told me. That Liz came to her apartment house, whatever, and was like, yeah, I'm on my lunch break. Do you want to go get lunch? And was like in her scrubs and she did not have a job and was wearing a cold cap, which is what you wear like after you get chemo or during chemo so that your hair possibly doesn't fall out. Diabolical. Liz, you did not have cancer. You did not go through chemo. She said, she's like, no, I had like stage 1 or something. Let's see non-doctored proof of that. So you know what? I'll do you one better. Sign a release of information form for whatever doctor diagnosed you with that and put it that they can release the information to me, and that will prove. That's how we'll do it. I don't want the records from you. I want it from the actual facility, and I'll go there and pick it up. All right. So again, Scientology and cults like that and experiences like that are quite fascinating. So unfortunately, this is something that will overshadow other stuff, other crimes, if you will.
So please tell me, in any walk of life, in any situation, if you do something every single day for 2 years, you walk away and that's not a part of your life, you're not that person, there's no way. You practice a habit every single day for 2 years, and it's not even a habit. It is them wiring your brain for 2 years how to behave, what to do, what to say, who you should be, how you should treat people, the way you should go. I swear, I've said this a million times, their whole thing is about teaching people how to manipulate other people. I mean, that's what they do. They will literally tell you verbatim, word for word, on how to manipulate someone to get them to do what you want them to do.
Right. I was just actually editing a video about that earlier. Because when I worked for Scientology, I lasted 6 months when I was 19. My job was to find people's ruin. So my job would be to have you take the personality test, and then I would find out on the test where you kind of scored low, and that would be probably where you felt insecure or weren't doing very well. And then I would swoop in and I'd be like, well, I was supposed to, I really sucked at it. But if I was doing my job, I'd swoop in and like basically make you cry, like make you feel so bad about your situation. And then I would say, oh, but we have a solution. I have a solution. And if you were in a quote church of Scientology, I would say the solution is Scientology, but you just happen to be sitting in a doctor's office or somewhere else. And so I say the solution is our business administrative program. And it's the same thing with Scientology schools, actually. They follow very, very similar stuff, but they call it something different.
So in I believe it's the 4th clip from this live stream, people are commenting on the reposted clip and saying she left her kids with Mr. Scientology. And then also people are saying, why is Scientology being brought up again? Deflect. And yes, I do believe that is what she's doing. She's deflecting.
He would have never, I guess, had an issue with it, people saying that at all, except for the fact that it kind of switched the narrative where people were like, wait, that's we know about that. We know that this is a type of stuff Scientologists do. And that is kind of where he was like, wait, I don't even know anything about Scientology. I don't even know where she got that from. Like, instead of being like, well, like he could have just came on and said, well, I did take courses of Scientology for 2 years. But like, I'm not in the church or whatever, however, which way he wanted to go about it. But at first he acted like it was like this foreign concept. Like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I've never even like heard of that. Where does she even get that from? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what kind of drew me to this situation as well, because you were like, no, Scientology. And he was just saying, I don't know, how could that possibly be? And it's like, well, actually the link is right there on the website. Nobody would put a Scientology like philosophy link on their website if they weren't into it somehow.
Interesting. That's so dumb. So what doesn't make sense is that with the website, it was created when they were already divorced. She claims that they were taking these courses for 2 years, right? And it was around when they first got married. So they were married for, I believe, 4 years. And then he stopped taking these courses. So why would he have put a link on the website that's associated with Scientology when he's not even and hadn't been involved in it for a certain amount of time? Also, hey, if you leave Scientology, you are a SP, a suppressive or suppressed person. If you don't believe in it, if you badmouth it, I am labeled a suppressed person. That's what I get for being kicked off their property. All you feral bitches watching this, you're probably a suppressed person too. So think about it. Why would he link that on there? if he didn't want anyone to know that he made it, if he was going to deny it. I personally think that Liz is the one who made it, obviously with the login info and all those pings, all the IP details that we have from our PI. But I think that she was the one who made it and put that on there to have it linked, to have it connected to Scientology somehow. And she's like, why would you put it on there if you blah, blah, blah. And it's like, girl, that's why I think you put it on there, to try to reinforce the narrative of, oh, well, he's in Scientology.
I had always thought Yuri Minkoff somehow with one of his people, his cronies, was just like, throw the website up, like make her pay. I don't know.
We'll never know. I don't know who did it with him. Somebody helped him. At the end of the day, they think I did my own website. At this point, I don't even defend myself because I just don't care.
Let's talk through that.
I just don't care. I don't defend myself. No, you deflect. You don't defend yourself because you don't have, in my opinion, proof to be able to actually adequately defend yourself.
So what... I got through a little bit of the Elizabeth podcast, but honestly, when they said there was no Scientology connection, when they're like, we looked into it and there was no Scientology connection at all, I was like, sorry, I can't. Like, to me, I lost the credibility. And not saying that, I don't know, I stopped listening. I'm not sure.
And that's your confirmation bias, because you're stuck on this and want it to be bigger than it actually is. You want this Scientology aspect to be a bigger part of the story than it actually is, because it's actually not a part of the story really at all, other than Liz attempting to deflect with that accusation. So yes, that is correct. We said in Elizabeth that he is not a Scientologist. Now, we didn't mention that he did take courses because we weren't talking about that. She said that he was a Scientologist. He was not a Scientologist. He was not a member of the Church of Scientology. There you go.
I will say, I said this in a video the other day, I think they did a very tasteful job on the podcast. I think they, as far as the information they feel like they got, a lot of it they did pretty well. I was very like, it was put together well. They were informative and all of those things. I will, there's a couple issues that I have with it. One, they state at the beginning of it or something, this is not hearsay, this is all fact, something.
Okay.
You're getting the information from one party. You don't have, even the proof you're getting is from one party or words from one party, because I'm sitting there and I'm listening and there's a lot of truth. I've said that some of the things that they're on there, they're saying it's true. And I'm like, yeah, they got that right. But then there are others that I'm like, this is so made up. I don't even know where I've ever even heard this. Like, this doesn't even like come close. I mean, at this point, I don't care.
Again, you do care because you're talking about it and trying to discredit us. We do not say that everything is factual. Think about it. The people who watch her content probably aren't going to go listen to Elizabeth. So they're just going to take that as a fact, what she just said. But this woman's an idiot. So for instance, let's just go to episode 3.
The information provided in this podcast is alleged and based on our understanding and research at the time of recording. We make every effort to ensure the accuracy of the information presented, but we cannot guarantee that all data is entirely accurate or complete. The opinions expressed herein are solely those of the hosts and contributors.
Exactly. And again, saying and framing it as like you're getting this information from one party. We didn't get it from one party. We had multiple people corroborate multiple different aspects of what she had said. It was a little hard at times because she would say different like versions of stories and lies to different people. But good God, I've interviewed so many people. This is the most involved project I've ever been a part of. And so no, we were not getting our information from one party. We got it from 50 plus parties, 50 plus individuals and organizations, and even herself, and people that she doesn't know that we've talked to, and people that she doesn't want us to talk to, and also correspondence that she has sent people as well, and like from herself too. So it's just interesting that she's like, you're getting it from one party, and it's like, no, we're not.
The website thing is so far-fetched. I can't even like understand where they would get that from. I guess they said my IP address. I didn't listen to that. I think that's the last episode is and I didn't listen to that one just because I had listened to the other ones, and maybe there's 2 that I haven't listened to. I just stopped listening to it. I said that they did a great job. But
what is that like, listening to a podcast about you like that?
Someone commented on this one and said, they literally say, we tried our best to get information and this is just people's opinions. I don't think people understand the premise of a disclaimer. Literally every podcast has that. And just like we do that so we don't get sued. People are idiots. This one idiot. Oh, I need to stop calling people idiots. This one person with 4 brain cells says, take it sleazy. They have been quite harassing. However, they said, I thought it was boring AF. Girl, you are obsessed with Liz and love her content. If you think her content is entertaining and ours isn't, yikes. And I'm not saying that to fluff you up. There was very little real proof. What? How was there very little real proof? What are you talking about?
Like, it's not super flattering.
No, it's not. It isn't.
I mean,
yeah.
But you listened. You were compelled. You wanted to know.
I didn't for a long time. For a long time, I didn't listen. I listened, I think, about a month ago. For the first time, and it is because someone, a girl that I had agreed to like stay off the internet with, not be battling back and forth with, went on, and so this is the very first time that I listened because I was like, interesting, seems how this is not what we agreed upon. So then I listened. So I listened to that one first, this episode. And then I got kind of hooked. I was like, this would be good if it wasn't about me. I would kind of like this.
That episode where we talk a lot with Rachel wasn't the first episode that she was involved in. Rachel was involved from day one with the podcast. She has been one of our sources. She's been very helpful. She's been very forthcoming, and even things that don't make her look good, even things that, could damage her reputation, which I appreciate a lot. Now, that episode that we did was our second interview. I say our, but I had met her and then we did another one where we like dive deeper into some other stuff. And a lot of times I do have to do that with people. And I personally like that because, the second go around, you're more comfortable with the person. There are things that you forgot. Things have maybe evolved. I'm further in the project. I'm able to really figure out like, okay, I need this, like we need to talk about these 3 things. And that's what we were able to do. And it was great. But it's interesting that she's like, yeah, we were having a feud. And it's like, it's not a feud. Like you are, in my opinion, using your daughter as a shield because she was very close with your daughter and she still, wanted to have a relationship with her and support her and, was being nice and supportive to your ex-fiance, your daughter's dad. Like, yikes.
This is very interesting if it wasn't about me. So then I was kind of hooked on it. I went back to episode 1 and I listened. And I was like, wow. And I am pretty self-aware of myself, like shit I've done and who I was and things I even need to fix now. So when I listened to it, I was like, I will say sometimes there are things I don't even remember, I'll be honest, like that I've pushed so far down and blacked out of my mind things I've done or things I've said, ways I've acted. So then when I hear it and I'm like, shit, that wasn't very nice of me, or wow, like I really have, some more growing to do. But then there are other things where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so far-fetched. This is someone wanting to jump on this like bandwagon and it doesn't. But then I'm like, at this point, I don't super care. I don't care. I didn't get angry. I didn't get like, I typically don't get that way anymore unless it involves my children.
I typically don't get that way anymore, except she was just on video and live stream, like yelling about 2 other people that she has a history with. It's like, okay, girl, this woman loves to alter history and her digital footprint. It's truly wild. Now, people have been asking in here, like, so if you don't remember a bunch of stuff, then what's fake? What's false? What's far-fetched? And she's like, people just want to jump on the bandwagon. And it's like, I wouldn't say that we're jumping on the bandwagon if we didn't make this type of content already. If I wasn't in this area as well, like sure, then jumping on the bandwagon, but it wasn't something that was rushed. It was something we did take our time with, and we're really taking our time with season 2, which people keep asking me when it's going to be out. I don't know. We have a lot to do for it, and we're not doing it like in real time. We want to have all the episodes done before we even release the first one so they can actually go out on time and people aren't about to scalp us for an episode on a Friday.
I thought it would affect my real personal life much more. That's where I was kind of very, very, very anxious about it. Like I
thought it would, and it hasn't even a little bit.
Like your friends or your job or what? What do you mean?
Okay, job-wise, I will say it has affected that. You Google my name and it's all that pops up. And of course, that's the first thing anyone does when you're applying for a job.
And also background checks. You have been arrested for check fraud. I think that's what it was. But also, babe, that's what you did. The reason why you can't get hired at a normal establishment, a normal business entity, or at all, like a professional setting, because of your own actions. So say all day long of, oh, well, it's haters, it's people, you know, talking shit about me when I want to change. And it's like, you've forced yourself into being a public figure. And so, yes, people are going to talk about you. And especially if you keep going with the shit and refusing to actually take accountability and admit what you've done and accept those consequences. So yeah, it's your own actions. You can't get mad at people for actually talking about it. They're just talking about what you did. Who is at fault? It's you, not the people talking about you.
I've actually had to get a job through someone that I know. Like, I know the person who owns a company, and like they know me and a person, and they're like, okay. But friends hasn't, relationships hasn't. I mean, I will be completely honest in the fact that like everyone knows that I had like sugar daddies that paid for my things before. They will still offer it. Does not matter what they see on the internet. Like, and it doesn't, I don't even, so to me, I always wonder what the goal is, because they're not super achieving much with it.
It's funny that she's like, I don't super care, and they're not super achieving much. It's like, girl, what is this? What is this vernacular? Where is this from? Could not tell ya.
For a very long time now, I've kind of just been quiet on it. I no longer talk about it. I don't really share my side of it. So I think there's only one side for them to listen to. And that kind of makes it like easy for them. If I were to come on and really, really, and I never have, share every horrific thing he's done to me, it doesn't take away. The reason why I don't is because it doesn't take away from the shitty things that I've done. So what is the point?
I mean, I think showing proof of your accusations against someone are, if there is proof, are very important. And she has said multiple times in this live stream as well, she's like, I don't talk about him. I haven't talked about him in so long. And it's like, you just spent like 30, 40 minutes talking about him. And yes, you have. You have absolutely talked about him a lot. You delete those videos though. So I don't know why she's acting like it's not what's happening. It's very strange. And saying things like, I'm not going to address this, or there's only one side that people are getting. Okay, then tell your side. Show proof. Actual proof. But when she tries to do that, for instance, like with people saying that she was allegedly committing charity fraud, she showed what looked and seemed to be fake and forged IRS documents. And so that's very interesting as well. But then she deleted that video, and I made a video about that. You can go watch it. I'll have it linked down below. But it's like every time you try to come with receipts and facts and blah, 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 and it's like it's non-receipts or it's things that you've forged, allegedly. It's really interesting that she's just going to complain. And it's like, no, girl, defend yourself. Show proof, show facts. But you can't do that because there isn't any, you know? All right, friends, if I can find anything else that was pertinent to this topic, we will go ahead and insert it throughout the video, wherever, whatever. I was reaching out to multiple people to get more info, but like, it do be hard out here. Anyways, I hope this isn't a rebrand for her or like a pivot for her of acting like she's a survivor of a cult. I think that if any of that really did happen, then she would have brought it up sooner. God, anyone who's like new to my channel is gonna be like, Chelsea, you're blaming a victim. And it's like, girl, no. And that's one thing that's so frustrating with Elizabeth Teckenbrock, because it's like, you make it harder, not harder to believe victims, but like, it's literally like the Kendra, I fell in love with my psychiatrist thing on TikTok that's going insanely viral right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Here for the Clout podcast. That's my podcast with Cheryl and Dale. Last week, we just did a 3.5 hour episode about it. And you might be thinking, God damn, that's a lot. Yes, I know. It took us 2 days. Anyways, so that's awful. These types of people, it's like, I need y'all to stop making me feel bad for this man. Okay. Also, again, to make it clear, Andrew is only a small little snippet of all the messed up stuff that this lady's done, but it makes her more relatable and more of a believable victim when she has someone else to blame other than herself. All right, I'm going to go, but I appreciate you. If you are subscribed, your butt looks so good, girl. So good. And if you're not subscribed, you are dead to me, and I am going to mail you Wiggum farts. Wiggum, my bulldog, he's right here. They'll insert a picture. I'm going to mail you some of his farts, and I hope that you don't like them. I hope it makes your eyes water. It will. They smell. It's sewage. It is death seeping out of his bunghole. All right. Well, that's it. Your feelings are valid. Stay delusional, stay feral, stay spicy, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.